Welcome and happy Friday. Just one more stream. Always just one more. Gonna go ahead and kick off while I am booting up. Gonna kick off a little 30-second ad to clear out any pre-stream ads that people might experience in the next 10 minutes. So I'm gonna boot up. Be back in 30 seconds. Oh, wrong. Where's? Why can't I drag that to that window? There we go. Wrong one. Well, who knows? Ad might be done. We're good to go. Woo! It is Friday. I'm so glad it's Friday. New stack is based on SQLite 3 with a VFS plugin or application. It's a little late getting the stream going. I had to get the room a little more warm. Trying to get the heat dialed in. Okay. So where are we? We are playing around with data plane. We are working on the third test in the test suite thus far. The first two tests test downloading a database that it doesn't have, downloading a database that has been added since it booted, and this one is this test is to test out the machinery, which doesn't exist yet. The machinery that doesn't does blah 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 blah. Talking. First thing Friday morning. Wow. Talking is hard sometimes. It takes a lot of effort. Okay. And this test here is for synchronizing a database that both the server and the client have. So we need both of the pieces to exist. We need it to start up. And then we want to have a change made to the server. So we'll need to create some new function on test context in order to mutate the server. And we will read the mutation and send it to the client and see, do they stay in sync? Now, it's interesting in that we don't necessarily know where the change would happen. How are we going to do that? So right now, just to show where everything is at, I kind of want this on the far right. Does it? Oh, I can't. No. Okay. It is what it is. So the current tests all pass except for the one that we're working on. So this one here, it just pauses forever. It knows that we're trying to sync this database, but then the task just hangs on forever. If we remove that filter, we should see that the other tests pass. I believe they've passed. Actually, I'm not sure anymore. They might have bailed, or they could be paused just like that one. All right, we'll figure it out. I'm gonna keep sipping some water. So when I take a moment and go on mute for, I don't know, 5-10 seconds, it's usually because I'm just taking a sip of water. Okay. So, you know what? If I comment this out, does it pass? Yes. 3 pass. Okay. So it's really this. We're waiting for an event from the server. We want the change. What produces stream database updates? Is it only in one place on 537? It is. No, that's not it. Oh, it's in the archive server. here. We send the channel back. Okay. I want to remind myself what this test is actually doing. So we expect to see database stream, get databases, database info, fetch database. These are requests that the client is making to the server. Server event, the test server, emits these events so that we can inspect what the client is doing. So we get a fetch database called. When we say fetch database, we stream the database using this event. We're down here. The tests look so very similar. Now they should be fairly identical. I kind of want a little bit more information on this. What did it actually ask for? An archive server. This is a test server. We just ignore the request. But the request has the name and the database checksum. So it's saying, please give me this database. Is that the right one? No, that's fetch database. We want stream database updates. And on that, we get from and to. So the database name, where it's, and then a range. It might be interesting to also send this request data back to the test code instead of just the channel. Because in this one case, it would be nice to see that the database is completely synced. We want to go, from some specific place to another. Let's consider that. Back to the test code. I want to drill in from, let's see, run sync manager, run the database stream, sync the databases. When we sync the databases, we loop over the databases, calling sync on them. Call sync database, in which case we ask the server for information on the database. We get some information back saying the server is at, let's see, database information response. Where is that? Proto generated. No, let's go to source. So it will respond with the page size of the database and the DB checksum. So page size and checksum. We check to see if it exists locally. If it does not, we download it. That's already tested. We're testing over here now. If it does exist locally, we would like to download the database. Well, just the changes for it. This stream database updates. Are we expecting this one to... Okay. Sorry, I saw that we were passing in a checksum, but not two checksums because we want a range. Now, the reason we do that is because this function figures out what the starting point is. Maybe we should pull that out, pass that in. I do this very frequently where I will come through and read code that I've written in the past and just see, does it read? Does it make sense? Is it intuitive? And in this case, I did stumble there. Could be early morning me on a Friday. Relative DB path to stern. Okay. So maybe we pass that in. The current checksum. Get DB. We could pass this back out and have a start checksum and end checksum. Okay. Start checksum. We will pass that in. So we have start and end. We have the page size. And what should this be doing? We make the gRPC request. We open the database file for mutation, not creation. Read. Do we want it to be readable? Why wouldn't we open it for read? Oh, hello and good morning. Shodron. This editor is called Zed, Z-E-D. So we open the database, and then from the response from the server for our stream request, we iterate over the responses, writing that information to the database. How do we test this? This is an interesting comment. Before applying the page data to the DB, check that it would result in the expected state. And what this function does is it will seek to a specific place in the database, write the data, and I think we also do we need to update or check some information here. We are not doing anything to update the checksum, are we? DB file, cursor, write the data. We are not. We actually need to update the checksum as we do this. Are we optimistic or pessimistic with this? Do we write it and then update the checksum? We know that the data is correct. Right? We've received it correctly over the wire. So we validated that the data we received is correct. It might be out of order. Maybe we just received a correct page, but it's the wrong correct page. And it's maybe correct for some other point. Is it the same as VS Code? It is not the same as VS Code. It does kind of have a VS Code feel to it, though. All right, let's at least update this so that our checksum data structure is correct. And what do we call on our checksum data structure? It would be here. So we can get the checksum for a number of pieces here. We could checksum a page. I think that's what we need here. Oh, does this return the checksum of the data we just received? What is the return value? Page checksum. Oh, it is. It is the. Okay, we could only do that once then. Okay, so up here where we are validating the checksum, instead of that, we say self dot check some DBs. We need to get a specific DB. We need to know what the relative DB path is. And that will return a database inside of an option. So at this point, we expect it to exist. If it does not exist, that's definitely an error. Okay, or else. Let's give it an error. DB existence error. Let's see, what would the source be in this case? IO error? We could create our own. It's new, it takes an error kind. Not found. Oh, not found is nightly? No, maybe it's okay. Error in this case. Let's say you know what, but this isn't really an IO error because we didn't look at the file system. What other errors do we have just sitting around? Checksum mismatch error. We could just create a new one. Checksum missing data error. Okay. DB path should be relative DB path. Okay, or else return that. I think at this point we want to checksum a page. We want to give it the page number, the page data, and we want to save that. Hmm. Expected use size. That's fine. Really? Why do we want use size here? The maximum number of pages that SQLite supports is very large, but it's not that large. Oh, limitations. I asked the wrong question. Maximum number of pages in a database. Okay. That's basically a U32. It's not use size. Oh, I see. I probably did that so that inside it would behave. Okay. 5 errors? No. What errors do we have? All in the same place? What got me into Rust? Did I hate myself and want to punish myself? Well, I started my kind of coding adventure, I guess, when I started making money with C. So, arguably, I moved into a safer place. So, I love C. Yeah, C is a great language. So maybe there is a little bit of masochism there. But I do say that in jest. I really like Rust. It's been a great learning experience. CheckSumDB. Oh, this is when we are. Okay. Oh, will it? And welcome, GCChem. Let's see. You say you did an entire class at university in C. I forgot everything syntax-wise. Starting some LeetCode problems to refresh yourself. It's not going well. Oh dear. Well, it's good to practice. That's part of why I do this every day. Is just to, just to stay familiar with it. I see programming languages a lot like spoken languages or written languages. And if you're trying to learn, some foreign language, or language that is foreign to you, you have to practice it. So I try to do, a little bit of practice coding every day, and that's a bit of what this is. This is some practice. It's some learning, just getting more familiar with it. Oh, we need to pass the relative DB path in. Did we set that up as the first? Should it be the first one? Write DB page. We should give it the DB file first. Okay, now we have that, and we could do this and not run the hasher twice, which would be nice. Let's break this into two pieces. Function checksum. Actually, we basically would just want this. Without these pieces. This will return a U32. No errors though. Expected unit. That's not right. Oh. Well, the project we are working on now, it's described a little bit over here, but essentially, where's my diagram? Where's MonoDraw? There it is. Essentially, we are building a framework, a new stack, if you will, where you provide an application and the framework just scales it out horizontally. It's built around SQLite and excuse me. It's built around SQLite and data replication. So we are actually working on data plane and making some tests that imitate what it would be like receiving data from Data Archive. So we'll build this out, figure out what the interface should look like, and then go build this out. We already have proxy. We already have a plugin. It's not complete, but it works. So just building all the pieces together. Check some matches. Let's say expected and actual. We're just going to move this up. There we go. Oh, this should return okay. Otherwise. Oh, what software are we using making that nice schema? That is called MonoDraw. I love MonoDraw. MonoDraw is awesome, and this is the 4th revision of the architecture. I keep trying to simplify it. I think we've gotten it to a point where it would be useful. I am doing it for fun. I want to eventually build something like WordPress on top of it. So you can have, a bunch of different websites stored in different SQLite databases that get replicated across the globe. And it's nice and fast for everybody to access. Mutations might be a little slow if you need to, let's say, post to a forum, because you have to go to the writer on the globe. But I think there's room for optimizations at a certain point. And at the moment, I'm planning on having all of the writers on basically a single machine, or for a specific app. But I would like it to be able to be changed so that it's like Cloudflare Workers. So the mutation ends up choosing a place on the globe. Francois, how are you? Comment ça va? Ça va bien? I am not a native French speaker. I just studied French in high school. I have switched to light mode. Yesterday, I received a comment saying people miss dark mode. I used to stream in dark mode for 2 years, and I tried to switch back yesterday, and I couldn't do it. I spent, I don't know, an hour with colors and creating a color scheme in Zed. And then when I was mostly done, I looked at it and thought, no, it's not happening. Okay. Checksum, expected function, found U32. Oh, you are right. This is the expected checksum. We have an actual checksum. Okay. Where was I before? We need to call this checksum matches. You're in right database page. We don't want to call that. We want to call portion of that, which is checksum matches. Expected is page checksum. Actual. Okay. There, we've actually improved the code. Yeah, habits are charged. Speaking is hard. Razor, welcome. You read that light mode is better for your eyes, but habits are hard to change. That they are. They are. I ended up changing this past summer because I ended up coding quite a bit outside. Light mode is much easier to read out in the sun. Full brightness on a Mac, it's really hard to see little white text on a black screen. It's much easier to see black text on a white screen. So we validate the checksum. We check that. Oh, basically we update our checksum, and before applying it to the page, so before applying it to disk, Wait, why did WordWrap stop doing it? Is this the GitHub Lite theme? I'm using the Z editor, and this is using the One Lite theme. I did not see a GitHub Lite theme. So we check, let's see, validate the page checksum. And then if the DB checksum is provided, oh, Copilot, what have you given us? DB, okay, or else. I don't think that's correct. No, stop it. Now we just want basically this extracted out to a variable. We want to get the checksum off of this DB object and validate that it's correct. Oh, interesting. And checksum matches. We want different errors depending. This is fairly generic. Checksum mismatch error. I think we could live with that. So we get that back. We say checksum matches. The expected is DB checksum. The actual is this here. And then we bail if we need to. Okay, so this, we've basically checked that by applying this to our database, it would result in a correct modification. Oh, you're on Z2. One Lite is nice. The GitHub theme has to be installed separately. Oh, interesting. Where is the GitHub theme? Do you have a link to it? Is it on the Z Themes website? Oh, it's an extension? Interesting. Oh, I haven't seen diagnostics here before. I wasn't looking, but oh, no. Just actually, I am interested. If you don't mind tossing the link in chat, I'd like to see it. Validate the page checksum. We get the checksum, check that it matches before applying it to the database. Validate that. Ah, thank you. I will take a look later. Interesting. I wonder why they made it an extension. Oh, Razor, thank you for that. Oh, a lot of themes are published as extensions. I did not know that. Hmm. Okay, we've completed that. Fix me. That's done. We have updated that piece. That's done as well. Okay. Well, that's good. We've made some improvements. We are now keeping the checksum DB up to date, which is awesome. All right. So now that we've gotten that working, well, working is not quite right. Where are we here? This is in DB, right? Oh, we have to give it the relative page. Do we have that? We have absolute. We do. Lovely. Okay. Down to 3 errors. This one I'm not fixing today. But these up here, that one looks like it's fixed already. It's an error up here. Oh, because we didn't get the starting checksum. Which could have changed from up here to down here. And hopefully it changed. Hopefully it became, the database became more up to date. So essentially, oh, the font. This is whatever font is default in Z. I'm not sure. That looks all right. Do we have it locally? If it does not exist, we download the database. If it does exist, we first try to get changes that have happened between two checksums, what our current one is and what we've been told is the current. Stream those changes. Why do we do this then? Do we need this? We don't need this. Oh, wait, we do this if this fails. Yes. Okay, so imagine that we have some very out of date databases on the client. Completely valid, just very out of date. Think that maybe the system went split brain for some extended period of time. What if it is so far back that the archive server doesn't, maybe it's compacted its logs and doesn't have a specific checksum anymore? If that is the case, what would we expect? Do we want another API to check and see if it's possible? I don't like that. I would rather it just say it doesn't have it. And we were talking about sending not found and out of range. which we're not doing here. We're not checking for these results yet. So this database updates. If we get a specific error, maybe we could return something that's not an error, or we could handle a specific kind of error. Let's handle a specific kind of error, but we need to raise that error. Okay, we have to do this before into inner. Before we open the database. Here. If the server does not have the database, we'll return not found. The start checksum okay. Database updates. We don't want that. We just want to check the response. So we could say into parts. How do we get the status response? Is it part of the metadata? Let's look at the docs. It's in tonic. Should be a response. That does not seem like it. Hmm. Have I been on mute this whole time? You guys should shout at me. Really, really. If I'm quiet for that long, I don't intend to be quiet for that long. Goodness, I don't go a minute without talking. On stream, anyways. All right. I was just about to say, give me a moment. I need to adjust something. Okay. Stream update, database updates. We have that. Start checksum. All right, so let's get the result of this. Now we have stream results. We don't bail on that. Match stream results. This is more of an if let error, isn't it? Yes, basically we want this or the other one to result in downloading. First we will delete and then download. So we catch either one, otherwise we return error. So we'll just pass that through if something's wrong. We have download database, but the database still exists. We should remove that. We could remove file. We need the absolute file here. Hey, Batman. How are you? We need another error. One more error. Always one more. Wow. That's not the error at all. Well, so we try to stream the updates. If we are unable to stream the updates for some reason, we remove the file and download it new. And that's it. Interesting. There is one small optimization I think we could do. We could check to see if the start checksum is equal to the DB checksum and just skip everything. That seems like it's a bit of a, it saves us one request. Just one moment. Updates. I like this. I like this. I just want to know whether or not we should bypass and just start streaming changes. So let's do that check here. Start checksum sum. Actually, okay. See if the database checksums are the same, you can skip the sync and go straight to the streaming of database changes. Okay. This looks good. Gonna grab some water. Yes, I'm liking this. Let's see. What happened to the test? Is anything panicking? Let's see if it compiles. It passed? Why did it pass? Oh, because, well, we need to make it fail. Get database. Okay, so here, I guess it depends. Which portion of this do we want to test? Do we want to test no changes? So it skips the sync test. We might need a little bit more information. I think we do need to send a little bit more information. So when we start to stream database changes, database updates, we do not tell the test code what was actually requested and what could be useful right now. So whether or not this information was passed through. So maybe, just maybe, we pass that through. Now we can inspect that. Let's go back to the test code. Now, what I'm expecting is in this download section, we want to come through here and realize that we skip the sync because the checksums are the same. So we do not do a stream with the end. We will skip all of that and do a stream without the end. So we need to check that we started to stream without the end. So we have this, we get the request. We should expect that this is nothing, right? There is no destination. Okay, let's check that. Did not compile. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, because of that. Well, maybe we should assert that these are a specific thing. I'll have to think about that. Okay. So this works great. Copy this. So we want something very similar. Test skip sync. We don't want to skip sync. Okay. So in this case, we expect it to be something. And now we need to provide some diff, some page that we can apply to the database. We are so close. I'm sorry. Um, Slightly distracted. Now, how do we send this? How do we actually do this? Maybe I should give pause and think about that. Because we need to make a change. We need to detect where that change is. All right, let's make the change piece. Let's create a little mutate server database. Oh, interesting. We are still using file names on this. I've been moving everywhere else in the code to path. Mm-hmm. Anybody have weekend plans? All right. I'm going to stop a little early today, I think. I feel like I'm a little distracted and, you know, I'm comfortable keeping on going, but I feel like I'm just not going to be as chatty. So, how about how about we do that? Something like that. Hey, Zelly Panda. The fastest way to learn Rust is probably just doing it. Um, Maybe start with the Google documentation on it. They have I think a 3 day um, I don't know wiki. Rust book is very good. I think I was thinking this. Like if you want Rust quickly, here you go. I really like the book though. All right. Now we have this interface. Create connection, mutate server DB. We're filling that in. Create server DB, mutate server DB, copy server DB to client. Okay. That's not what we want. We want to open it and actually make a change. So, where's our create server DB? We want something similar to this. Thanks, Spencer. It's just been a long week and I'm just struggling to focus. So I need all the help I can get. Wait. Hmm. Yes. Notes. I think that's okay. Update test DB. Right. We need this referenced on contact. So we create, copy. Where's our mutate server DB? Row ID. Let's just say it's row number 1. Okay. I see the chatter. Create test DB. Do we need this to be a path buff? I don't think we do. Really, this file only has these 3 functions in it? Okay. Ah, yes. Okay. Huh. Let's change this to be similar to the rest of the code. Real talk though, why is SQLite 3? Last you checked, there's a bunch of locking issues with concurrent writes with it. So concurrent writes are per file on disk. Okay, so if you need concurrency, you can split up your database into multiple files. For example, let's say you were running a forum website. Just split up your database into, having multiple files, maybe one per thread. Right? That it enables you to make multiple writes at the same time. But yeah, there is a limitation with that, and you just have to partition your data well enough. SQLite can open and join across multiple files, so that's typically not an issue for reads. This here. To stir. I think it'll be something like that. Okay. All right. Let's make sure everything still works. This last one still needs to be changed and updated. One failed. Fine. Oh, are we getting panics? Lovely. Checksum missing database error. Oh, interesting. Oh, well, that's because the checksums are currently the same, which means that it will skip the sync. So we need to mutate the database here. So this should cause a change, which means that they should differ. We do not yet have the ability to detect which of the pages is different. Oh, no such table. Notes. Really? Great table notes. That's unexpected. Could be the wrong order, could be the flush. So in this case, well, before I had been explicitly dropping the SQLite connection. I don't think that's going to, like, that happens at the end of this function anyways. Yeah. Maybe, just maybe, we've given it the wrong database. All three failed? Oh, fascinating. I just changed some of the tests to use pathbuf instead of string. Is that what caused this? Okay. One thing at a time. Oh, yes. Okay. This is broken. This should have been the absolute path. Use the same text. Relative DB path. How often do I use a debugger for Rust code? Hardly ever. It's like maybe a handful of times in the past year. Okay. This looks better. Panicked here. No such column note. Oh, what do we call it? Name? Oh, how about we change it to text or something? Rust debugging is fun, though. How you doing, Rockaboo? One passed. Look at that. One passed. Well, this is interesting. That I get. What about this one? Could not get checksums for DB that is expected to exist. Fascinating. So we changed the DB server. It on the server. Mutate DB server. Does that? We're not doing anything with this stream as well. So we get the request. We check that there was something for that. For some reason it's not going into the. Did I do this too late? Database stream. Get databases. I think this is too late. We wanted to copy them. Sync that. So we run the sync manager. Do we put this here or above running sync manager? Because we want a difference between them. Does it matter where it happens? Let's check on the archive server because I think for some of these requests, test archive, get database, reader, yada yada. Okay. Database info. This one's interesting. We create a DB checksum object. So we get the page checksum and DB checksum. Okay, so by moving that change up, it actually passed because now it's trying to download the change because the server hash is different than the client hash. So it's different, but now we need to send what changed. So we'll do something there. Stream.foobar. But how do we get the changed pages? And what information do we need to send? something like this. And then we want this. We want to make sure that they do a request afterwards again. In fact, it should be more like this. Oh, sorry. I've been focusing. I haven't been looking at chat. Let's see what's going on. So we need to create this. Change server pages. So we will look at both the client and the server in 4K chunks to see which pieces are not the same and send them. This is a lot of test code. But the nice thing is, it causes us to think through it all. Well, I should probably get going. Um, yeah, sorry for the being so quiet. It's just been a long week. But I think if I can get this piece done later, then I'll be able to check that the downloads work and that everything's okay. Like it. I'm gonna get going. See you all. Take care. Oh, I should probably try to stream, raid somebody, right? Twitch. Da-da-da. Who should we raid? Adam? It is in the jungle. There's never been a All right. Well, y'all, till next time. Oh.